Think for a moment about a common yet profoundly challenging situation that could easily be your own. Imagine your closest friend, someone you've shared decades with, confides in you about a mistake they made years ago. Not a malicious act, but a small, almost insignificant lie on a job application that helped them land a minor role. That role, however, unexpectedly became the bedrock of their entire career, leading to their current position, financial stability, and the future for their family. Now, years later, an old colleague has started asking questions innocently at first, but with a creeping suspicion that could unravel everything. Your friend is terrified. If this decades-old fib comes to light, they stand to lose it all: their job, their hard-earned reputation, their financial security. They beg you to simply omit a tiny detail, to subtly reframe a memory, to protect their future. Here's the rub, the heart of the dilemma. What in this moment is truly the good thing to do? Is revealing the unvarnished truth, shattering your friend's life, truly good? Or is protecting them with a small omission truly evil? Is it righteous honesty or compassionate loyalty? This isn't just an ethical puzzle, it's a living crack in the very foundation of how we often perceive morality. We're steeped in a world of clear-cut binaries, good and evil, right and wrong. We are taught to strive to be good people, to meticulously do the right thing according to established doctrines. But what if those labels, those fundamental categories we've inherited across generations, aren't absolute, immutable truths etched into the very fabric of reality? What if they are instead profoundly elaborate and incredibly powerful tools? Tools forged by humanity over millennia, not by divine decree, but out of necessity to manage ourselves, to regulate complex social interactions, to build cohesive societies, to maintain order. They've been incredibly useful, indispensable even for much of our history. But they are tools, constructs, interpretations, not unwavering universal laws. This is where things get genuinely interesting, provocative, and for many profoundly unsettling. Because if our most cherished concepts of good and evil are, at their core, human inventions, then what does it truly mean to be a good person in a world that seems to demand unwavering adherence to these inherited rules? And what if there's a different way to live, not by following ancient prescriptions, but by actively creating your own values, your own moral compass, informed by your authentic experience, to move beyond pre-packaged morality, beyond the herd mentality, and forge a path based on strength, authenticity, and a self-generated sense of what makes your life meaningful? This is the audacious, sometimes dangerous, yet ultimately liberating terrain that philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche invited us to explore. It's a radical proposal that true liberation, and perhaps the highest form of goodness, might lie not in conformity, but in bravely questioning moral foundations, evaluating their utility for your unique life, right here, right now. In this journey, drawing inspiration from audacious thinkers like Nietzsche and anchoring ourselves in the practical, defiant wisdom of Henry David Thoreau's Walden and Civil Disobedience we're going to dive deep. We're going to confront these fundamental assumptions about what constitutes a good life, unearth these dangerous ideas, not with the aim of descending into nihilism or moral anarchy, but with the profound intention of re-evaluating what it truly means to live a genuinely good, meaningful, and authentic life in our complex, often contradictory modern world. We'll explore how choosing to live deliberately, to stand apart, and define goodness on your own terms, as Thoreau did, can be a profound act of self-discovery. To discover if true goodness lies not in passive conformity, but in courageous self-examination, deliberate action, and the will to live truly on your own terms, rooted in a deeper personal truth. Are you ready to truly ask yourself and wrestle with the unsettling implications? Are you truly a good person? And what does that question truly mean for you? Here and now. When you hear the name Nietzsche, what's the first image that springs to mind? Perhaps a brooding philosopher, lost in dense academic texts, muttering about the death of God and the will to power. Maybe you associate him with gloom, cynicism, or even ideas that feel unsettlingly radical. For many, Nietzsche feels like an intimidating figure, his works like a locked door to a complex, perhaps even dangerous, world of thought. But I want to challenge that perception right from the start. Forget the caricatures. Forget the dusty library image. Instead, I invite you to think of Friedrich Nietzsche not as a gloomy academic or an aloof prophet, but as something far more vital, a brilliant, if sometimes abrasive cultural doctor. He was a diagnostician, meticulously examining the hidden illnesses and pathologies of Western thought and morality, the unspoken assumptions that govern our lives and societies. He was uncovering the subconscious biases, the herd mentalities, and the unexamined values long before modern psychology even had the language for it. His magnum opus, Beyond Good and Evil, isn't just a book. It's a meticulously crafted scalpel designed to expose the nerve endings of our moral consciousness, urging us to question everything we thought we knew about right and wrong, truth and falsehood. And this isn't going to be an academic lecture or a dry analysis of 19th century philosophy. My goal with this video is to humanize Nietzsche, to translate his dense, often poetic philosophy into practical, actionable insights for your life. We're going to dive into Beyond Good and Evil, not to simply understand him, but to better understand ourselves. This is about equipping you with a unique lens through which to examine your own values, your own motivations, and the very foundations of your personal worldview. It's about empowering you to become a more discerning thinker, to construct a more authentic existence, rather than passively inheriting beliefs. I distinctly remember my own first significant encounter with Beyond Good and Evil. I was at a crossroads in my own life, navigating a world that felt increasingly complex and contradictory, grappling with a pervasive sense that something fundamental about our shared values just wasn't adding up. I'd grown up with certain unquestioned moral tenets, societal expectations that felt like universal truths. Reading Nietzsche wasn't just an intellectual exercise, it was like receiving a jolt to the system. It challenged my deepest held convictions, not in a destructive way, but by forcing me to ask, why do I believe this? Who told me this was true? What if the opposite is also valid? It was uncomfortable, yes, but it was also incredibly liberating, cracking open a world of critical thinking I didn't even realize I was missing. It made me reevaluate everything from my personal ambitions to my understanding of compassion, and it fundamentally shifted how I approach self-knowledge. Throughout this video, we're going to unpack Nietzsche's radical ideas about morality, power, the will, and the individual, exploring how his insights remain shockingly relevant in our polarized, rapidly changing modern world. We'll delve into his critique of herd morality, his concept of master and slave ethics, and his profound call for self-overcoming, all without getting bogged down in jargon. By the end, you won't just have a clearer picture of who Nietzsche was and what Beyond Good and Evil truly signifies, you'll have gained a powerful new framework for thinking about your own life, for actively questioning the unspoken rules that govern your choices, and for forging a path that is uniquely, authentically yours. This is your guide to becoming a modern thinker who isn't afraid to look beyond conventional wisdom and build a life rich in self-awareness and genuine purpose. Welcome to Chapter 1, The Problem with Truth. Before we dive deep into the specific wisdom of Henry David Thoreau, we first need to lay some groundwork. We need to challenge one of the most fundamental assumptions we all carry, the very nature of truth itself. For centuries, philosophers have embarked on a noble quest to uncover objective, universal truth. They believe that somewhere beneath layers of illusion and subjective experience lay an undeniable reality waiting to be discovered, neatly packaged and presented to all. But what if this quest itself is built on a shaky foundation? What if the very act of seeking an absolute truth is less about pure intellectual curiosity and more about something far more personal, even primal? This is precisely the suspicion raised by the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He famously questioned what he called the will to truth. Nietzsche found it profoundly suspicious, not because he believed everything was false, but because he saw a profound, often unacknowledged desire lurking behind this drive for objective certainty. He argued that our intense desire for truth isn't always a detached, rational pursuit. Instead, it can be a deeply human craving for security, for order in a chaotic world, for a sense of mastery, or even for the moral superiority that comes from believing we possess the ultimate answer. We want to believe there's an absolute truth because it makes us feel safe, justified, and righteous. It solidifies our own worldview and often allows us to dismiss alternative perspectives as simply mistaken. The will to truth, in Nietzsche's view, can often be a veiled will to power, a desire to impose our interpretations as the definitive reality. If the will to truth is so inherently biased, then what does that say about truth itself? This leads us to another of Nietzsche's powerful concepts, perspectivism. Perspectivism asserts that there are no absolute uninterpreted facts. There are only interpretations from different viewpoints. Imagine looking at a vast mountain. From the east, you see one face; from the west, an entirely different one. From an aerial view, another still. Each perspective offers a real, valid insight into the mountain, yet none encompasses the entire objective reality of the mountain itself. Your position, your tools, your intentions, your very history all shape what you perceive. Now extend this metaphor to ideas, beliefs, and values. Our experiences, our culture, our language, our fears, our desires, these are the viewpoints that irrevocably shape our understanding of reality. What we call truth is, more often than not, the most compelling interpretation that aligns with our particular perspective, our needs, and our underlying desires. It's not that reality doesn't exist, but that we can only ever apprehend it through our own unique lens, a lens colored by everything that makes us who we are. This isn't some abstract philosophical exercise. It plays out in our everyday lives with startling clarity. Consider the modern phenomenon of political echo chambers. People curate the news feeds and social circles to exclusively consume information that confirms their existing political beliefs. Within these chambers, their chosen narratives are presented as objective, undeniable truths. Opposing viewpoints are dismissed not merely as different interpretations, but as inherently false, misinformed, or even malicious. The facts cited within these bubbles are often cherry-picked or interpreted through a specific ideological lens, bolstering a group identity and a sense of moral rectitude. The collective truth becomes a reflection of shared biases and the desire for communal validation rather than a dispassionate inquiry into reality. Welcome to Chapter 1, The Problem with Truth. Before we dive deep into the specific wisdom of Henry David Thoreau, we first need to lay some groundwork. We need to challenge one of the most fundamental assumptions we all carry, the very nature of truth itself. For centuries, philosophers have embarked on a noble quest to uncover objective, universal truth. They believe that somewhere beneath layers of illusion and subjective experience lay an undeniable reality waiting to be neatly packaged and presented to all. But what if this quest itself is built on a shaky foundation? What if the very act of seeking an absolute truth is less about pure intellectual curiosity and more about something far more personal, even primal? This is precisely the suspicion raised by the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He famously questioned what he called the will to truth. Nietzsche found it profoundly suspicious, not because he believed everything was false, but because he saw a profound, often unacknowledged desire lurking behind this drive for objective certainty. He argued that our intense desire for truth isn't always a detached, rational pursuit. Instead, it can be a deeply human craving for security, for order in a chaotic world, for a sense of mastery, or even for the moral superiority that comes from believing we possess the ultimate answers. We want to believe there's an absolute truth because it makes us feel safe, justified, and righteous. It solidifies our own worldview and often allows us to dismiss alternative perspectives as simply mistaken. The will to truth, in Nietzsche's view, can often be a veiled will to power, a desire to impose our interpretations as the definitive reality. If the will to truth is so inherently biased, then what does that say about truth itself? This leads us to another of Nietzsche's powerful concepts, perspectivism. Perspectivism asserts that there are no absolute, uninterpreted facts. There are only interpretations from different viewpoints. Imagine looking at a vast mountain. From the east, you see one face; from the west, an entirely different one. From an aerial view, another still. Each perspective offers a real, valid insight into the mountain, yet none encompasses the entire objective reality of the mountain itself. Your position, your tools, your intentions, your very history all shape what you perceive. Now extend this metaphor to ideas, beliefs, and values. Our experiences, our culture, our language, our fears, our desires, these are the viewpoints that irrevocably shape our understanding of reality. What we call truth is, more often than not, the most compelling interpretation that aligns with our particular perspective, our needs, and our underlying desires. It's not that reality doesn't exist, but that we can only ever apprehend it through our own unique lens, a lens colored by everything that makes us who we are. This isn't some abstract philosophical exercise. It plays out in our everyday lives with startling clarity. Consider the modern phenomenon of political echo chambers. People curate their news feeds and social circles to exclusively consume information that confirms their existing political beliefs. Within these chambers, their chosen narratives are presented as objective, undeniable truths. Opposing viewpoints are dismissed not merely as different interpretations, but as inherently false, misinformed, or even malicious. The facts cited within these bubbles are often cherry-picked or interpreted through a specific ideological lens, bolstering a group identity and a sense of moral rectitude. The collective truth becomes a reflection of shared biases and the desire for communal validation rather than a dispassionate inquiry into reality. Welcome back to our exploration of Henry David Thoreau's Walden and on the duty of civil disobedience. In our previous chapter, we began to uncover the layers of Thoreau's radical experiment in simplified living and profound self-reliance. Now, as we delve deeper into the spirit of Walden Pond, we introduce a concept that, while articulated by a different philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, provides an exceptionally powerful framework for understanding Thoreau's journey, the ideal of the free spirit. Chapter 2, Becoming a Free Spirit. What precisely does it mean to be a free spirit? For Nietzsche, this individual is the antithesis of the herd animal. The herd animal finds comfort and security in conformity, in accepting the received wisdom, the conventional truths, and the well-trodden paths laid out by society. They operate within the established norms, rarely questioning the foundation of their beliefs or the dictates of their community. Their thoughts are often echoes, their actions reflections of collective expectation. They value safety above all, and their greatest fear is often isolation or deviation from the group. The free spirit, by contrast, is a wanderer, not just physically but intellectually and spiritually. They are characterized by an insatiable curiosity, a profound skepticism, and an unwavering courage to interrogate everything. No belief is too sacred, no authority too mighty to escape their discerning gaze. They dare to think independently, to forge their own intellectual path, even if it leads them away from the comforting warmth of the collective. This individual is willing to stand apart, to observe the herd from a distance, and to articulate perspectives that may seem alien or even threatening to those who remain ensconced within conventional thought. This pursuit of independent thought, however, is not a journey without its trials. To be a true free spirit often means embracing a profound and inherent loneliness. Society, by its very nature, tends to value cohesion and consensus. To question its foundations, its values, its very fabric is to invite friction, misunderstanding, and often ostracization. The free spirit must learn to be comfortable in their own company, to find solace in their own convictions, even when those convictions are met with skepticism or outright dismissal by the majority. This is not merely intellectual isolation, it can touch the very core of one's social existence. It demands a mental fortitude to withstand the subtle pressures and overt criticisms that inevitably arise when one deviates from the norm. The difficulty lies in unlearning the deeply ingrained habit of seeking external validation. From childhood, we are taught to conform, to follow rules, to seek approval. The free spirit must actively dismantle these learned behaviors, cultivating an internal compass that guides them, irrespective of public opinion. This requires immense intellectual courage, the courage to face uncomfortable truths, to admit when one has been wrong, and to remain open to new evidence, even if it shatters long-held assumptions. It's about developing a profound comfort with uncertainty, understanding that definitive answers are often elusive, and that the process of questioning is more valuable than any fixed conclusion. It's about embracing the journey of inquiry itself, rather than fixating on a static destination. Looking at our contemporary landscape, we can see the echoes of the free spirit in figures we now celebrate, though perhaps not always recognize as such. Think of the disruptor in business who fundamentally reimagines an industry's operating model. Consider the innovator in technology, whose breakthroughs often come from challenging established paradigms and asking why not, rather than why. Or perhaps most aptly the first principles thinker who, much like Thoreau, strips away layers of assumption and conventional wisdom to arrive at the foundational truth, building understanding from the ground up. These individuals are the modern counterparts of the free spirit, embodying that same courage to stray from the herd and forge new paths, both intellectually and practically. Thoreau, in his experiment at Walden Pond, exemplifies this free spirit par excellence. He deliberately removed himself from the societal currents of his time, not to escape, but to observe more clearly, to think more deeply, and to live more authentically. His sojourn was a conscious act of detaching from the herd, its material obsessions, its frantic pace, its unquestioning acceptance of commercial and social norm. He sought to understand life's essential facts by stripping away everything superfluous, to find his own truth unburdened by inherited dogma or popular opinion. As we move forward, keep this distinction in mind. The tension between the free spirit and the herd animal is not just a philosophical concept, it's a dynamic force that shapes individual lives and societal progress. Thoreau's life at Walden is a testament to the power of one individual's commitment to becoming a free spirit, offering us invaluable lessons in the art of independent thought and self-determined existence. This chapter isn't an attack on belief itself, far from it. We're undertaking an empathetic exploration of a fundamental human experience, our profound need for certainty, meaning, and belonging. We'll understand the psychological forces driving us towards faith, dogma, and conviction, and how they subtly yet dramatically shape our lives and our potential for growth. To truly grasp the psychological undercurrents Thoreau navigated, it's illuminating to turn to another profound thinker, Friedrich Nietzsche. His searing critique of certain Western morality and religion offers a powerful lens through which to view the often hidden cost of unquestioning faith. Nietzsche argued that certain religious values, particularly those emphasizing humility, self-denial, and an otherworldly focus on salvation, can inadvertently promote weakness. This isn't just physical weakness, a psychological enfeeblement, a turning away from life's inherent vitality, its natural instincts, its raw, unapologetic power. For Nietzsche, a life-affirming philosophy meant embracing struggle, cultivating one's own will to power, and finding strength and meaning in the face of suffering, rather than seeking escape from it. He keenly observed how some dogmas, by promising solace solely in an afterlife or condemning earthly desires as inherently sinful, could foster a spirit of resignation, a profound denial of the vibrant, often chaotic impulses that truly make us fully human. This isn't an indictment of all religious belief, but a precise focus on Nietzsche's critique of how certain interpretations or applications of faith can subtly yet profoundly undermine personal strength and genuine growth, encouraging instead a conformity that stifles individual potential. Ultimately, it's about how we might outsource our moral compass, our very sense of purpose, to an external authority, rather than robustly cultivating it internally. This brings us to Nietzsche's crucial concept, the bad conscience. Imagine our earliest ancestors driven by powerful, often aggressive, instincts necessary for survival in a harsh world. As nascent societies formed, these potent instincts necessarily needed to be curbed for communal living. External forces of law, custom, and morality began to impose restrictions. But what happens to that raw aggression, that will to dominate, that primal impulses, when it can no longer be expressed outwardly? It doesn't simply disappear. Instead, Nietzsche argued, it gets turned inward. We learn to become our own tormentors, internalizing the judge and the punisher. Our natural aggressive instincts, once directed outwards, are now unleashed against ourselves. We condemn our own desires, our own perceived flaws and shortcomings, creating a deep-seated guilt and shame, the bad conscience. This self-inflicted psychological wound is often further reinforced by doctrines that emphasize original sin or inherent depravity, solidifying the idea that our natural selves are fundamentally flawed and must be constantly suppressed or punished. It's a profound self-alienation, a relentless internal battle that saps energy and prevents a genuine, unburdened engagement with the richness of life. Nietzsche's psychological insights extend far beyond religious morality, profoundly resonating in our modern secular world. This dynamic seeking certainty, surrendering personal strength for perceived security, and turning aggressive instincts inward is frighteningly pervasive. Consider today's rigid political belief systems. Ideologies, whether on the left or the right, often demand absolute allegiance, discouraging nuanced thought or dissenting opinions, creating a sense of us versus them. They offer a ready-made identity, clear enemies, and a comforting sense of being right, fulfilling the same psychological needs as traditional religion: a sense of belonging, ultimate meaning, and a simplified explanation for a complex world. We see this in the zealous devotion to political figures, almost a form of secular sainthood where any criticism is met with fierce defense, mirroring the unwavering faith of religious adherents. Or consider the pervasive nature of celebrity worship. In an increasingly fragmented and individualistic world, people latch on to public figures, adopting their lifestyles, their opinions, their values as a proxy for their own identity and purpose. The deep human desire to belong, to emulate, to find meaning in an external source can be incredibly powerful. When these modern faiths become rigid, they similarly stifle individual growth by shutting down critical inquiry, discourage independent thought, and lead to an outward projection of blame rather than an inward examination of personal responsibility. The certainty offered by these systems, however superficially comforting, can come at the significant cost of authentic self-discovery and the courage to forge one's own truly unique path, much like Thoreau sought to do at Walden. Thoreau, in his retreat to Walden, was, in a profound sense, conducting his own psychological experiment. He was systematically stripping away the layers of societal expectation, challenging conventional wisdom and prescribed paths, to truly discover what constituted a meaningful and robust life for him. He sought to understand the true cost of living lives of quiet desperation, realizing that much of this desperation stemmed from an unexamined acceptance of external narratives, a constant suppression of one's own inner voice in favor of collective dogma. By analyzing the psychology of belief, we're not aiming to dismantle faith or condemn conviction. Rather, we're seeking to understand the deep human yearnings that give rise to these powerful structures. It's an invitation to cultivate a conscious awareness of why we believe what we believe, to critically examine the sources of our certainty, and to question whether our chosen paths truly empower our individual strength and foster genuine growth, or if they subtly bind us to a form of psychological servitude. Thoreau's experiment at Walden in many ways was an audacious attempt to reclaim that inner sovereignty, to listen to the whispers of his own soul rather than the clamor of the crowd, offering us a timeless lesson in the profound psychology of self-reliance. We've journeyed deep with Thoreau, exploring his personal experiment and his critique of society. But as we consider the motivations behind our actions, both individual and collective, we inevitably confront the profound question of morality. Where does our deepest sense of right and wrong truly come from? Is it innate, divinely ordained, or perhaps a historical construct, shaped by power dynamics and psychological forces stretching back through millennia? To explore this secret history, we'll turn from Walden Pond to the intellectual landscape forged by one of history's most provocative philosophers, Friedrich Nietzsche. With characteristic boldness, Nietzsche challenged conventional wisdom, offering a radical genealogy of morals. He famously distinguished between master morality and slave morality. Understanding this isn't about endorsing one, but gaining a sharper lens to examine our own ethical foundations and the complex moral tapestry of modern Western society. Let's first define master morality. Imagine a world dominated by the noble, the powerful, the aristocratic. For these masters, morality arises from strength, self-affirmation, and an overflowing vitality. They define good as what they are: strong, proud, courageous, resolute, and life-affirming. Their values stem from an inner drive, an affirmation of their own excellence, not from utility or concern for others. What is bad is simply what is weak, common, cowardly, or contemptible, not evil in a condemnatory sense, but merely inferior, a falling short of their high standards. Their good is the unadorned expression of their will to power their flourishing existence. Now, contrast this with slave morality. This system emerges not from strength, but from weakness, from the perspective of the oppressed, the suffering, the subjugated. Its birth is rooted in what Nietzsche termed sentiment, a deep, festering resentment, envy, and suppressed hatred towards the powerful masters. Unable to express rage or directly challenge their oppressors, the slaves engage in psychological revenge. They invert the values. What the masters deem good, strength, pride, ambition, becomes evil. Conversely, what masters dismiss as weak or lowly becomes good: kindness, humility, compassion, patience, meekness, and pity. The good person in slave morality is one who suffers, is charitable, not proud, and does not exert power. The evil person is strong, selfish, and powerful. This, then, is the famous slave revolt in morality, not a physical uprising, but a profound revaluation of values. The definition of good is flipped: strength, once celebrated, is deemed oppressive; meekness, once scorned, becomes virtue; self-assertion becomes selfishness; self-sacrifice, altruism. This inversion, Nietzsche argued, profoundly impacted Western civilization, finding potent expression within religious traditions championing the poor, the humble, and the suffering as inherently blessed. So where does this leave us today? We don't live in a simple master/slave dichotomy, yet Nietzsche's framework offers a powerful lens to understand modern Western morality's often contradictory nature. Our ethical landscape is a complex, uneasy mix of these two ancient systems. On one hand, we still admire strength, individual achievement, ambition, and self-reliance, echoes of master morality. We celebrate innovators and athletes. On the other, we equally, if not more vehemently, champion compassion, equality, altruism, social justice, and care for the vulnerable, strong pillars of slave morality. We condemn arrogance, celebrate humility, and uplift the downtrodden. This inherent tension means our moral compass is often pulled in conflicting directions. We strive for personal excellence while feeling societal obligation towards collective well-being. We value individual freedom but wrestle with protecting the weak. Understanding these deep historical currents shows that many contemporary moral dilemmas are not new, but manifestations of this dynamic interplay between master and slave morality. By recognizing these foundational layers, we can approach our own moral judgments and ethical challenges with greater awareness and critical insight, discerning which threads within our moral fabric are truly our own and which are inherited patterns. As we've journeyed with Thoreau, we've learned to question the unspoken assumptions of society, to peel back the layers of convention, and to seek an authentic life rooted in self-reliance and direct experience. But what if the very foundations of our modern moral landscape, the virtues we hold most dear, also warrant such an uncompromising examination? In this chapter, we invite a provocateur even more radical than Thoreau to the conversation: Friedrich Nietzsche. His philosophy, often misunderstood, compels us to look at our most cherished modern ideals: compassion, equality, and safety, not as unassailable truths, but as concepts ripe for critical re-evaluation. Let's begin with compassion, or as Nietzsche often termed it, pity. In our world, compassion is almost universally lauded as the pinnacle of human goodness. To feel for another's suffering, to offer aid, to alleviate pain, these are acts we instinctively deem noble, and rightly so in many contexts. But Nietzsche, with his characteristic audacity, asks us to consider its shadow side. What if an excess of pity, a constant focus on alleviating all suffering, no matter its source, can paradoxically perpetuate weakness rather than solve it? What if, in our haste to remove every discomfort, every struggle, we rob individuals of the very furnace of adversity that forges strength and resilience? Thoreau, remember, did not seek comfort at Walden. He embraced a certain degree of hardship as essential for growth, for stripping away the inessential and confronting life directly. He didn't pity himself for his simpler existence. He reveled in its challenges, understanding them as catalysts for deeper self-knowledge. Nietzsche's critique isn't a call for heartlessness, but a demand to interrogate whether our compassion sometimes disempowers if it fosters a dependency on external relief rather than cultivating the inner fortitude necessary for self-overcoming. Does it sometimes prevent the individual from rising to their own challenge, from finding their unique power through struggle? Next, let's turn to the modern drive for absolute equality. The pursuit of equality of opportunity is a bedrock principle of justice, one that has rightly dismantled countless injustices throughout history. But what happens when this quest shifts from equal opportunity to an insistence on absolute equality of outcome? Nietzsche worried that such a drive might inadvertently promote mediocrity by suppressing excellence. If the goal is for everyone to be precisely the same, to blend seamlessly into the collective, does it create an environment where exceptionalism, daring individuality, and the pursuit of greatness are viewed with suspicion or even resentment? Does it level down rather than level up? Thoreau, in his own way, embodied the antithesis of this. He wasn't striving to be equal to his Concord neighbors, he was striving to be himself, fully and authentically, even if that meant standing utterly apart. His individualism was about finding his own measure, not conforming to a societal mean. The Nietzschean lens asks if, in our zeal to eliminate all distinctions, we risk losing the vibrant tapestry of human potential, the peaks of achievement that inspire and elevate us all. Is there a point where the pursuit of sameness inadvertently stifles the very drive to excel? Finally, let us cast a critical eye on our modern obsession with comfort and safety. From climate-controlled environments to an almost pathological avoidance of any perceived risk, we have engineered much of our world to be soft and predictable. While undoubtedly offering many benefits, Nietzsche prompts us to ask, what is the cost? How might this relentless pursuit of comfort and absolute safety prevent us from experiencing the necessary hardship required for genuine growth, for profound character development? It is often in moments of challenge, when we are pushed to our limits, forced to adapt, to innovate, to endure, that we truly discover our capabilities. Thoreau at Walden deliberately courted a certain degree of discomfort and exposure to the raw elements of nature. He sought the tonic of the wilderness, the bracing chill of reality, understanding that true life wasn't found in cushioned ease, but in direct, unvarnished engagement with existence. He knew that the soul, much like the body, strengthens through exertion and challenge, not through perpetual pampering. A life devoid of friction, of resistance, may be pleasant, but is it truly a life lived to its fullest potential? Now, it is crucial to clarify what Nietzsche is not advocating. He is not promoting cruelty, social Darwinism in its crude sense, or a callous disregard for human suffering. Quite the opposite. His philosophy is a profound call for a reevaluation of our values, a deep and unflinching inquiry into whether our current moral framework genuinely promotes human strength, vitality, and flourishing. He challenges us to move beyond reactive morality, born of fear or resentment, towards an affirmative, life-affirming creation of values that empowers individuals to become their best, most authentic selves. Like Thoreau, who urged us to wake up and live deliberately, Nietzsche pushes us to wake up and think deliberately about the foundations of our ethics. He invites us to be architects of our own values rather than passive inheritors of traditions that may no longer serve our highest potential. This is not about being evil, but about striving for a robust form of good that embraces challenge, encourages self-overcoming, and celebrates the full spectrum of human capability. It's about asking the hardest questions, not to tear down for destruction's sake, but to build something stronger, more vital, and more conducive to the profound flourishing of the human spirit. Welcome to Chapter 6, where we delve into a concept that, while not directly from Thoreau himself, offers a powerful and often misunderstood lens through which to understand the very essence of human endeavor and, indeed, the fundamental drive of all living things, Nietzsche's will to power. This is arguably one of the most profoundly misinterpreted philosophical ideas, often tragically associated with tyranny, ruthless dominance, and an unbridled pursuit of control over others. To truly grasp its profound meaning and emancipatory potential, we must strip away these damaging misconceptions misconceptions and reveal its authentic, empowering nature. Let's begin by addressing the pervasive misrepresentation. When many people encounter the phrase will to power, their minds immediately conjure images of historical dictators, figures bent on political subjugation, or a relentless, unethical drive for external supremacy. This widespread misunderstanding couldn't be further from Nietzsche's original intention. He was not, in any sense, advocating for a world where the strong brutally crush the weak, or where mere physical or political might inherently confers moral right. Instead, his will to power is a far more nuanced, deeply internal, and fundamentally biological and psychological impulse. At its most profound core, the will to power is the inherent, life-affirming impulse present in all living organisms, a drive not merely for survival but for active growth, for relentless expansion, for continuous self-overcoming, and for profound mastery. It is the intrinsic urge to become more than one currently is, to actualize one's latent potential, to bravely transcend existing limitations, and to robustly express one's unique being and capabilities in the world. It's the inexplicable force that compels a fragile sapling to push through concrete to reach the sunlight, or a seemingly insignificant stream to patiently carve out a magnificent Grand Canyon over countless millennia. It is a dynamic, relentless, and profoundly creative force, constantly demanding expression, development, and a higher form of existence. Consider, for example, the dedicated artist. What truly propels them to spend countless, solitary hours refining their craft, to pour their very soul onto a blank canvas, or to meticulously sculpt a masterpiece from inert raw material? Is it solely a means to survive economically, to simply achieve a fleeting sense of happiness? While those might be tangential benefits, the primary, compelling, almost irresistible force is often an internal will to power. It's the profound drive to manifest an intricate vision, to bring something new and significant into existence, to push the very boundaries of their skill and imagination, to conquer the resistance of the medium, and to achieve creative mastery. The completed artwork itself becomes an expansion of their being, a tangible testament to their self-overcoming and their triumphant will. Similarly, let us examine the entrepreneurial spirit. What truly motivates an entrepreneur to take immense risks, to work tirelessly through adversity, to face countless rejections, and to constantly innovate in the face of overwhelming uncertainty? It's far more than just the pursuit of monetary wealth or a comfortable, secure life. It's the innate drive to build something from nothing, to create a novel system, a transformative product, or a vital service that simply didn't exist before. It's the fervent desire to see their unique vision come to fruition, to overcome market challenges, to expand their influence through innovation and building, and to leave an indelible, tangible mark on the world. This, in its essence, is the will to power expressed as the masterful conquering of circumstances, the creative expansion of one's influence through pioneering innovation and persistent building. Or turn your gaze to the relentless athlete. Why do they willingly push their bodies beyond perceived limits, endure grueling training regimes, and constantly strive to shave mere milliseconds off a personal best or add an extra challenging inch to a leap? It's not just about winning medals or external accolades, although those are certainly motivating factors. At a deeper, more fundamental level, it is the personal battle against their own inherent limitations, the relentless pursuit of peak performance, the profound desire to overcome the physical and mental obstacles that reside within themselves. It is the will to power vividly manifested as the rigorous mastery of their own body and spirit, a continuous, demanding process of self-overcoming to become perpetually stronger, faster, and more agile than they were yesterday, a testament to their unwavering spirit. By intentionally reframing our understanding of motivation through the sophisticated lens of the will to power, our personal and collective goals instantaneously take on a far more profound, meaningful, and dynamic significance. If we merely aim for survival, we inadvertently settle for a bare, often precarious existence, perpetually reacting to external threats. If we solely chase happiness as an end in itself, we risk a superficial, fleeting contentment often dependent on transient external circumstances. But when we consciously embrace the will to power, our deepest aspirations become powerfully imbued with an intrinsic sense of purpose, exponential growth, and continuous, passionate striving. Our endeavors are no longer passive reactions to the vicissitudes of life, but active, courageous affirmations of our innate capacity to grow, to profoundly influence, to master ourselves, and to contribute creatively to the magnificent unfolding of existence. This transformative perspective invites each of us to look deeply inward and sincerely ask, where in my own life am I genuinely seeking to grow? Where am I overcoming internal or external resistance? Where am I striving for mastery, not in a destructive sense over others, but over myself, my craft, and the challenges before me? This isn't a call to domination or aggression, but a profound invitation to engage with life as an exhilarating journey of continuous becoming, a powerful testament to the potent, creative, and expansive impulse that animates each and every one of us. We now turn our gaze to a concept both ancient and profoundly modern: the nature of the noble soul. What defines this higher human being, one who doesn't merely follow established norms but instead creates their own values and lives by an inner law? This question, deeply embedded in philosophical thought, finds powerful resonance in Thoreau's own journey and offers a unique lens through which to understand his radical individualism and his call to authentic living. For thinkers like Nietzsche, true nobility is not a matter of birthright, inherited status, or external accolades. It is first and foremost an internal state characterized by profound self-reverence and an unshakable belief in one's own intrinsic worth. This isn't arrogance or self-aggrandizement, but a deep-seated conviction that one's own being and judgment hold significant value. It's the capacity to look inward and affirm oneself, independent of the shifting sands of popular opinion or the approval of others. It demands courage, for it means trusting one's inner voice above the loudest proclamations of the world outside. Think of Thoreau retreating to Walden Pond, not seeking permission, but enacting his own vision of a meaningful life guided by his own conscience rather than the expectations of Concord society. His very act was an affirmation of his self-worth and the validity of his personal convictions, an insistence on being the author of his own existence rather than a mere character in someone else's script. Crucial to this concept of the noble soul is what Nietzsche termed the pathos of distance. This isn't a sneering disdain for the masses, but rather a necessary psychological and often physical separation from them. It's the feeling of apartness, the conscious creation of space that allows an individual to develop their own unique perspectives, to forge their own values, and to cultivate an inner world uncorrupted by the incessant clamor of conformity. It's a strategic retreat not born of misanthropy, but of a profound need for intellectual and spiritual independence. Thoreau literally building his cabin in the woods exemplifies this perfectly. His retreat to Walden was not an escape from life, but an intentional withdrawal from the superficialities and distractions of society to engage more deeply with life's essentials and, most importantly, with himself. This distance allowed him to hear his own inner voice, to formulate his own laws, and to articulate his groundbreaking ideas on civil disobedience and simple living. The noble soul understands that genuine originality and moral fortitude often blossom in the quiet space away from the echoing consensus of the crowd. Without this pathos of distance, its unique flourishing would be stifled by the gravitational pull of the collective. Furthermore, the noble person holds a distinctive relationship with suffering. Where many seek to avoid pain, discomfort, and hardship at all costs, the higher human being often views suffering not as an enemy, but as an essential tool for growth, a crucible in which character is forged. This perspective doesn't romanticize suffering or promote self-flagellation, but understands its transformative potential. It's not about masochism, but about facing the discomfort of growth, the pangs of conscience, the resistance to complacency. The noble soul recognizes that ease can breed softness, while deliberate engagement with difficulty strengthens the will and clarifies purpose. It's through confronting challenges, enduring adversity, and navigating the complexities of existence that one develops true resilience, strength, and depth. Thoreau at Walden wasn't living a life of ease. He was deliberately stripping away comforts to confront life directly, to learn what was truly essential. His willingness to go to jail for his principles, rather than pay a poll tax that supported a government he deemed unjust, speaks volumes about his readiness to embrace personal discomfort and consequence for a higher ideal. He understood that true freedom and integrity often demand a willingness to bear a burden, to stand firm in the face of opposition, and to let adversity sharpen one's resolve, forging an unyielding inner core. Connecting these profound philosophical insights to our modern lives, we can see the deep relevance of cultivating these characteristics today. The noble qualities of self-reverence, the courage to create personal distance for self-development, and the embrace of suffering as a forge directly contribute to the development of resilience, the ability to bounce back and grow stronger from life's inevitable setbacks. They foster authentic self-respect, not based on external validation, but on an internal alignment with one's deepest values. And crucially, they build personal integrity, the unwavering commitment to act in accordance with one's own moral compass, even when the path is difficult or unpopular. The journey toward nobility, then, is not about aspiring to an aristocratic title, but about the profound and lifelong project of self-creation. It is about actively choosing to live a life of intention, where one's values are not merely inherited but forged through introspection and experience, where one's conscience is the ultimate law, and where the challenges of existence are met not with dread, but with a spirit of growth and unwavering self-affirmation. This pursuit of an internally defined nobility is not a path of isolation, but one of profound connection to one's authentic self, to a higher purpose, and ultimately to a more meaningful engagement with the world. This is the very essence of what Thoreau lived, and what he invites us all to consider, to discover and live by the noble spirit within, making our lives a conscious work of art. Welcome back to our exploration of Henry David Thoreau, a man whose life at Walden Pond often strikes us as an uncompromising embrace of authenticity. Yet as we delve into this chapter, the masks we all wear, we'll consider a counterintuitive idea, one articulated by the philosopher Nietzsche, that profundity, paradoxically, often requires a mask. The free spirit, the deep thinker, the individual forging their own path, must at times conceal their true thoughts and intentions from a world that is often hostile or simply uncomprehending. Think about it for a moment. How many versions of yourself do you present in a single day? There's the persona you adopt for your family, perhaps a slightly different one for close friends, another entirely for colleagues or clients, and yet another for strangers you encounter in public spaces. These aren't necessarily acts of deliberate deceit, but rather a social necessity. We instinctively understand that different environments demand different facets of our personality. We tailor our language, our demeanor, our very expression to navigate the complex web of social expectations. It's a pragmatic approach to avoid constant friction, to facilitate cooperation, and to simply get through the day without having to explain our innermost selves to every passerby. Even Thoreau, for all his radical independence, maintained a functional relationship with Concord society, albeit on his own terms. He wasn't a hermit utterly divorced from humanity. He simply chose his points of contact and his authentic expressions with great care. For those dedicated to deep thought, creative work, or the cultivation of a unique perspective, this need for selective presentation becomes even more pronounced. Deep thinkers, creators, and indeed, anyone pursuing a profound personal mission often requires significant solitude and a degree of separation to protect their work and, frankly, their sanity. Imagine trying to develop a groundbreaking philosophical idea or an intricate piece of art while constantly having to justify its relevance, explain its nuances, or defend its unconventional nature to every curious or indeed critical mind. The constant need for explanation can dilute the original impulse, force premature articulation, and ultimately stifle the very process of discovery. Thoreau's retreat to Walden was more than just simple living. It was a strategic withdrawal, a deliberate act of creating a sanctuary for his mind where his thoughts could germinate and flourish, undisturbed by the insistent demands and trivialities of conventional society. He protected his intellectual and spiritual ecosystem from contamination, ensuring its robust growth. Consider the analogy of an undercover agent. This individual lives ostensibly as part of the very society they are observing, or in which they are performing a vital, secret mission. Their outward persona is a carefully constructed shield, a functional disguise that allows them to move undetected, to gather information, or to execute their objective without revealing their deeper, true identity or purpose. For the free spirit, the individual whose inner world is rich with unconventional ideas, profound insights, or a radical vision for living, this analogy holds particular resonance. They might participate in society, engage in polite conversation, and even appear to conform to certain norms, but beneath that surface, a much deeper personal mission is unfolding. Their mission isn't espionage, but rather the pursuit of truth, the crafting of art, the living of a philosophy. Their mask allows them to interact with the world without compromising the integrity of their inner journey, protecting their unique perspective from the scrutiny and potential trivialization of a world not yet ready to comprehend it. This brings us to a crucial point of reflection for each of us to consider our own masks. Do they serve a conscious, purposeful role in navigating the complexities of your life, allowing you to move through different environments effectively and protect your inner world when necessary? Or have they become less of a tool and more of a cage, a form of fearful conformity that prevents you from expressing your authentic self, even to yourself? Are you wearing a mask because you strategically choose to, or because you're afraid not to? Thoreau, in his own way, spent his life chipping away at these layers of societal expectation and conformity, urging us to examine the very foundations of our lives and identities. He challenged us to discern what is truly essential from what is merely conventional. So, as we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on the masks you wear. When do you put them on, and why? Do they empower you to pursue your deeper purposes by allowing you to operate unhindered? Or do they diminish your light, keeping your true self hidden even from your own gaze? The profound lesson here is not to abandon all pretense, but to become acutely aware of its use, ensuring that our masks are conscious choices, serving our authenticity rather than eclipsing it. We arrive now at Chapter 9, Forging a Philosophy of the Future. Having journeyed alongside Thoreau through the quiet solitude of Walden Pond and the bold assertions of civil disobedience, we've explored the very bedrock of individual existence. We questioned the prevailing notions of truth, dissected the insidious pressures of conformity, and grappled with the profound responsibility of personal integrity. This entire exploration, in essence, has been a preparation, a clearing of the intellectual and spiritual ground for a more audacious task: to look forward, to envision, and perhaps even become those brave individuals whom Nietzsche later envisioned, the philosophers of the future, who do not merely discover values but create them. Our journey began with a fundamental skepticism, a Thoreauvian refusal to accept inherited wisdom or unexamined truths. We observed how he meticulously stripped away the superfluous, not just from his material life, but from his conceptual landscape. He challenged us to discern the genuine from the artificial, the essential from the expedient. From this rigorous questioning of what is true, we then moved to the more profound and difficult task of defining what is noble. Thoreau didn't prescribe a universal code of conduct, rather, he exemplified a life lived deliberately, a life where integrity, conscience, and individual freedom were the highest virtues. Nobility for him wasn't about external status or societal acclaim, but an internal alignment, a fierce commitment to one's own truth, a willingness to stand apart and live in accordance with self-discovered principles. This was his personal act of legislation, a testament to the power of self-definition. This brings us to the ultimate task of these new philosophers, these architects of the future. They are not simply interpreters of existence, nor passive recipients of moral codes. Instead, they are commanders and legislators who possess the singular courage to say, "Thus it shall be." They do not wait for the universe to reveal its preordained values. They stand at the crossroads of possibility and, through the sheer force of their will and vision, pronounce new meanings into being. Like Thoreau retreating to Walden to author his own existence, these individuals chart courses where no paths previously existed. Their wisdom is not in finding the way, but in making it. Their power lies not in adherence, but in authentic, self-generated decree. This demands an unparalleled degree of self-trust, a profound understanding of one's own inner compass, and an unwavering commitment to live by the standards one has personally forged. So the challenge now turns to you, the listener. How can you, in your own small corner of the world, stop being merely a follower, a consumer of pre-packaged values, and begin the arduous yet exhilarating work of creating them? It is not a call to anarchy or a demand for grand pronouncements. It begins with the deliberate act of pausing, of questioning the assumptions that govern your daily life. What truths do you unconsciously accept? What values have you inherited without examination? Where do you feel compelled to conform even when it chafes against your deeper self? To create values means to choose consciously, to align your actions with your most authentic convictions, to cultivate a unique ethical landscape that reflects who you truly are, rather than who society expects you to be. It is in these small, consistent acts of self-authorship in your choices, your relationships, your work, your leisure that you begin to legislate your own existence, to say, in effect, thus it shall be for me. The potential for human self-creation is, quite literally, limitless. We are not static beings bound by rigid definitions or predetermined destinies. We possess an extraordinary capacity for growth, for transformation, for continually reshaping our internal and external worlds. Thoreau, in his radical simplicity, showed us the liberating power of living deliberately, of constantly questioning and refining our life's philosophy. As we look ahead, let us embrace this boundless potential, this invitation to transcend mere existence and embark upon a life of conscious creation. Let us dare to forge not just a life, but a philosophy, one value at a time, each thus it shall be, a testament to our profound and unique human spirit. The future, in its truest sense, is waiting to be written by you. Welcome to your 7-day challenge, a practical guide to living differently. Throughout our exploration of Thoreau's, Walden, and Nietzsche's radical philosophy, we've discussed profound ideas about authenticity, societal norms, and the will to power. Now it's time to move beyond the abstract and bring these powerful concepts into your daily existence. This challenge is designed not just to make you think differently, but to live differently, offering concrete, actionable steps to apply these transformative insights. It's an invitation to strip away the inherited, to observe with new eyes, to create your own values, and to embrace the necessary discomfort of growth, much like Thoreau stripped away excess to live deliberately at Walden Pond, and Nietzsche challenged us to become who we are. Are you ready to embark on your own journey of self-discovery and deliberate living? Let's begin. Text Day 1 and 2. The art of questioning. Ask for our first 2 days. The task is simple yet profoundly challenging to question. We live in a world saturated with predefined notions of success, happiness, and a good life. These narratives are often inherited, absorbed from our families, communities, and the media, without ever truly scrutinizing their origins or their alignment with our inner selves. Your challenge for day 1 and 2 is to identify one core belief you hold about success or happiness. This could be anything from success means having a high-paying job to happiness requires a perfect family life, or true fulfillment comes from constant achievement. Once you've identified this belief, ask yourself a crucial question: is this truly my value, or did I inherit it? Dig deeper. Trace its origins. Did society implant this idea? Was it a parental expectation? Is it a default setting you've never bothered to change? Thoreau retreated to Walden to strip away the inessential and confront the fundamental facts of life, asking what truly mattered to him. Nietzsche similarly urged us to reevaluate all values, to look beyond the accepted and discover our own. This isn't about rejecting the belief outright, but about recognizing its source and deciding if it aligns with the deepest stirrings of your own will. Give yourself time over these 2 days to genuinely sit with this question, journaling any insights that arise. Day 3 and 4. The art of observation. Having questioned your own deeply held beliefs, your next challenge for day 3 and 4 shifts to observation, specifically observing the moral frameworks around you without judgment. Nietzsche introduced us to the concepts of master morality and slave morality. Master morality, in his view, values strength, nobility, and self-affirmation, often defining good as what benefits the strong and bad as what is weak or base. Slave morality, conversely, arises from the oppressed, inverting master values, where good becomes kindness, humility, and pity, and evil is defined as arrogance, cruelty, and power. Your task is to notice instances of these moralities in action. Look for them in movies, in news stories, in political discourse, and crucially in your own thoughts and reactions to the world. When you hear a story about a powerful CEO, do you instinctively admire their ambition master-like or resent their privilege slave-like? When a protagonist in a film sacrifices their personal desires for the greater good, what moral framework is being championed? Just observe. Don't judge, don't label as good or bad, simply notice the patterns. See how these moral currents shape narratives and perceptions. This exercise isn't about adopting one over the other, but about cultivating a deeper awareness of the underlying motivations and value systems that permeate our culture. Much like Thoreau meticulously observed the natural world around him, seeking to understand its inherent laws and rhythms. Ask Day 5 and 6. The art of creation, with questioning and observation under your belt. Day 5 and 6 invite you to become a creator of values. If you've identified an inherited belief and observed the moral landscapes around you, the next logical step is to define what is authentically yours. Your challenge is to define one personal rule or value that is truly authentic to you, unburdened by external expectations or inherited norms. This isn't about writing a manifesto, but about identifying a principle that resonates deeply with your authentic self, a rule by which you genuinely wish to live. Perhaps it's a commitment to radical honesty, or a value of unconditional curiosity, or personal excellence through constant learning, or courageous vulnerability. Once you have articulated this personal rule or value, take one small, tangible action based on it. If your value is radical honesty, perhaps it means having an honest conversation you've been avoiding. If it's unconditional curiosity, perhaps you delve into a topic you know nothing about. If it's personal excellence, you might dedicate an hour to mastering a skill. This is your first deliberate step in becoming your own lawgiver, in embodying the self-overcoming Nietzsche spoke of, and in building a life of integrity, echoing Thoreau's call to live deliberately. It's about manifesting your will to power not over others, but over your own life, shaping it according to your unique vision. Ask Day 7, the art of overcoming Congratulations, you've reached Day 7, and today is about embracing growth through intentional challenge. Nietzsche often spoke of what does not kill me makes me stronger, and the idea of amor fati the love of one's fate, including its hardships. Thoreau, in his own way, embraced the roughness and plainness of life at Walden, finding strength and clarity in its demands. Your challenge for today is to intentionally choose a small, healthy hardship you've been avoiding and embrace it as a chance to grow. This isn't about self-punishment, but about confronting a discomfort that you know will lead to personal development. Perhaps it's a particularly difficult workout you've been skipping, a tough conversation you've been deferring, or tackling a complex task you've put off. Approach this chosen hardship not with dread, but with a spirit of embrace. See it as an opportunity to test your resolve, to build resilience, and to affirm your capacity for self-overcoming. When you face this challenge, observe your reactions, acknowledge the discomfort, but push through it, knowing that on the other side lies a stronger, more authentic you. This act of choosing and conquering a small difficulty is a powerful affirmation of your agency and your will to shape yourself rather than be shaped by circumstance. And so, your 7-day journey of living differently concludes. This challenge is merely a beginning, a seed planted for a lifetime of deliberate thought and action. The wisdom of Thoreau and Nietzsche isn't meant to be admired from afar, but integrated into the very fabric of your being. Continue to question, to observe, to create, and to overcome. For it is through these conscious acts that you truly become the author of your own existence, forging a path that is uniquely, authentically yours. May you live a life that sings with the vibrancy of your own values and the strength of your own will. We've journeyed deep into the woods of Concord and the intricate mind of Henry David Thoreau, exploring his radical experiment in living and his unwavering call to individual conscience. 4 hours is a long time, but if you take nothing else from this comprehensive exploration, let it be these 3 profoundly simple yet utterly transformative ideas. These are the seeds that, once planted, will forever change how you perceive yourself, your society, and your place within it. They are not merely concepts to ponder. They are invitations to action, blueprints for a life lived on your own terms. First, and perhaps most controversially, understand this: morality is invented, not discovered. For centuries, we've been taught that good and evil are immutable forces, inherent truths waiting to be uncovered, like laws of physics or mathematical equations. Thoreau, in his Quiet Rebellion, subtly challenged this very notion. He didn't seek some universal moral code in nature. He created his own, rooted in sincerity and personal integrity, even when it put him at odds with the state. The truth is, our collective understanding of right and wrong, of what is permissible and what is forbidden, isn't etched into the fabric of the universe. It's a human construct, a complex tapestry woven from cultural norms, historical precedent, religious doctrines, and societal agreements. This realization is not a license for nihilism, but a profound liberation. If morality is invented, then you possess the inherent power to examine the moral codes you've inherited. You can scrutinize the values you've absorbed from family, school, media, and tradition. Do they truly resonate with your innermost being? Do they serve your highest self and the pursuit of a meaningful existence? Or are they merely convenient fictions, limitations imposed by others? By recognizing morality as an invention, you step into your sovereignty. You gain the agency to question, to revise, and ultimately to choose the moral framework that genuinely guides your unique journey. This isn't about discarding all existing morals. It's about claiming ownership over your ethical compass, ensuring it points true north asterisk for you asterisk. The second transformative idea is this: life's ultimate goal is growth, not comfort. In our modern world, we're constantly bombarded with messages that equate happiness with ease, with the absence of struggle, with passive consumption. We strive for comfort, comfortable homes, comfortable jobs, comfortable relationships, comfortable ideas, yet Thoreau, stripping away the superfluous at Walden Pond, showed us that true vitality doesn't reside in the cushioned embrace of the familiar. It flourishes in the challenging, the uncomfortable, the raw encounter with existence. Your deepest, most fundamental drive isn't to be at ease. It's what philosophers have termed the will to power, not in some aggressive, dominating sense, but as an inherent urge to overcome, to become stronger, to master yourself and your environment. It's the drive to expand, to learn, to adapt, to push the boundaries of what you thought possible. Every time you face a difficult decision, every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you grapple with a new skill or a complex idea, you are fueling this innate drive for growth. Embrace challenges not as obstacles to avoid, but as the very crucibles in which your character is forged, your capabilities expanded, and your spirit strengthened. The greatest satisfaction doesn't come from a life free of problems, but from the profound sense of accomplishment gained by meeting those problems head-on and emerging, inevitably, a more resilient, capable, and self-aware individual. Let growth be your compass and comfort a fleeting byproduct, never the destination. And finally, the third most empowering insight: become the author of your life. Too often we live as if we are characters in a story already written, following a script handed down to us by society, by expectations, by unexamined beliefs. We follow prescribed paths, internalize pre-written moral codes, and allow external forces to dictate our narrative. Thoreau, in his Solitude and his Civil Disobedience, wasn't merely advocating for a simpler life. He was demonstrating what it means to truly author one's own existence. He penned his own rules, chose his own setting, and lived out his own unique philosophical experiment. The ultimate freedom, then, is not merely to pick from existing options or to conform to a generally accepted good life. The ultimate freedom is the courage to create your own values, to define your own purpose, and to live by a code that you, and you alone, have inscribed into the very fabric of your being. This requires immense courage, for it often means standing apart, questioning the status quo, and sometimes enduring the misunderstanding of others. But it is in this act of self-authorship that you unlock your true potential, that you align your actions with your deepest convictions, and that you experience authentic meaning. You are not a passive reader of your life story. You are the novelist, the poet, the playwright. What kind of story will you tell? What values will define your protagonist? What kind of legacy will you craft, not just for the world, but for the profound satisfaction of your own soul? Take up your pen, begin to write. These 3 ideas: that morality is an invention you can examine, that growth is life's true quest over comfort, and that you are the sole author of your own existence, are not just takeaways from a book written over a century and a half ago. They are timeless truths, distilled through the lens of a man who dared to live deliberately. They invite you to awaken, to question, and to construct a life that is authentically, unapologetically yours. Carry them with you, reflect on them, and watch as they begin to reshape your world, giving you the power to live with purpose, integrity, and profound freedom. The journey we've embarked upon today, through the sparse yet profound landscapes of Walden Pond and into the uncompromising clarity of Thoreau's call for civil disobedience, is more than just an intellectual exercise. It is an invitation to radical self-inquiry, a challenge to reevaluate the very foundations of your life, and indeed, the fabric of society itself. Thoreau, in his pursuit of essential living and his steadfast commitment to an awakened conscience, subtly gestures towards a path often found beyond good and evil, a journey not of moral relativism but of personal authenticity, where truth is forged from within rather than dictated by external dogma. It's a call to strip away the superfluous, to confront comfortable lies, and to stand firm in the unvarnished truth of your own convictions. This path, however, need not be walked in isolation. The act of thinking deeply, of questioning deeply, is enriched immeasurably through shared reflection and spirited dialogue. And so, as we conclude this particular exploration, I extend to you a heartfelt invitation to continue this journey, not just within your own mind, but as part of a growing community of fellow travelers. To begin, I urge you to ask, comment below, take a moment, distill your thoughts, and share with us, what was the one idea from this video that resonated with you so deeply it perhaps even challenged a long-held assumption? What concept from Thoreau's philosophy made you pause, question, or see the world anew? Perhaps it was his unwavering commitment to individual conscience over state law, his meticulous observation of nature as a path to self-knowledge, or his provocative assertion that the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. Or perhaps, in reflecting on these powerful and timeless principles, you've identified a personal value you are now more deeply committed to upholding, a principle you intend to integrate more fully, more intentionally into your own existence. Your insights are not just welcome, they are vital. They enrich this space, spark further contemplation, and help to forge a collective understanding that is far greater than any single perspective. Let your voice be heard in this ongoing, essential dialogue. If this deep dive into Thoreau's radical vision has indeed sparked a new perspective within you, if it has ignited a fire of curiosity, or affirmed that quiet longing for a life of purpose and authenticity, then I implore you to subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you'll ensure you don't miss our future explorations, our continued voyages into philosophical texts, challenging ideas, and the lives of those thinkers who dared to live differently. We are building a sanctuary for the mind, a space dedicated to serious thought and inspired living. And if this video resonated with that part of you that yearns for freedom of thought, for intellectual honesty, for a life lived on one's own terms, then please, share it with another free spirit you know. Share it with someone who questions the status quo, who seeks meaning beyond the mundane, who appreciates a good intellectual challenge and isn't afraid to confront uncomfortable truths. Let's cast a wider net, gather more curious minds, and expand this community of independent thinkers, one meaningful conversation, one shared insight at a time. This video, compelling as we hope it has been, is merely an introduction, a gateway. The true power lies in engaging directly with the source material, allowing Thoreau's original words to speak to you in their unadulterated form. For those who feel compelled to explore further, to immerse yourselves in the raw beauty and unyielding intellectual honesty of his prose, you will find direct links to Walden and On the Duty of Civil Disobedience in the description below. I cannot recommend enough the experience of sitting with these texts, wrestling with their implications, and allowing their profound wisdom to unfold at your own pace. And recognizing the overarching theme of this call to action: continue your journey beyond good and evil, a concept often most powerfully associated with the revolutionary thinking of Friedrich Nietzsche, whose philosophy, though distinct from Thoreau's, also champions radical individualism, a rigorous reevaluation of all values, and the forging of one's own morality. We've also included links to accessible guides on Nietzsche's philosophy. Exploring these parallel yet complementary paths can offer a richer, more nuanced, and truly expansive understanding of what it means to live an examined, self-directed, and profoundly authentic life, a life indeed lived beyond conventional good and evil. Finally, for those who wish to move beyond passive consumption and into active, immersive participation, to truly cultivate and engage within a vibrant community dedicated to these kinds of challenging, life-altering ideas, I warmly invite you to join the conversation on our Patreon or Discord community. Our Patreon community offers exclusive content, early access to new videos, behind-the-scenes insights, and the opportunity to directly support the continued creation of these deep dives, helping to sustain and expand this intellectual endeavor. More than that, it's a space where your voice can directly influence future topics and directions. Our Discord server, on the other hand, is a dynamic, lively forum where you can engage in real-time discussions, debate complex philosophical questions with nuance and respect, share your evolving interpretations of these profound texts, and forge genuine connections with other independent thinkers who are just as committed to intellectual growth and self-discovery as you are. It's a sanctuary for thoughtful dissent, a crucible for new ideas, and a place where you can ask those uncomfortable questions, challenge prevailing assumptions, and gain fresh perspectives from a diverse group of like-minded individuals. Your active engagement not only enriches your own journey but strengthens our collective pursuit of wisdom and truth. Together, we can build a community that not only appreciates these profound texts but actively applies their timeless lessons to navigating the complexities, the paradoxes, and the grand challenges of modern life. Thank you for joining me on this particular exploration of Thoreau's enduring legacy. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep living intentionally.